Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are minions Serenity Star 13, DrFunctional,
Hi.
and SkepTock.
Hi, everybody.
How was your day, Skep?
It was fine. It was, kind of got a lot of stuff done. I need to, I seem to have, I have a window. I seem to have opened a window with the show in it. And so I'm hearing myself, but it's not here. What is
I've done that before.
Yeah, I've done that.
What the hell has happened? I've got a little view window. It's a little view window. Fucking hell! All right, all right.
Mute all the things. Well, almost all the things.
Are you using Opera browser?
No, I'm gonna find it right now.
Okay.
Because mine does a little window on
Let's
Opera.
see.
Yeah, fine. Fuck you.
Yeah. It's been a week since I spoke with you because I was unfortunately not able to make the Tuesday show.
Yeah, well, Tuesday show got kind of canceled, which is so that's.
Well, hopefully I will be there on this Tuesday, and then we can not do that. I was busy dealing with one of my biggest customers was doing stuff with the board of directors and all that sort of thing.
Ruh-roh.
And so I got to talk to lots of C-levels and important people who decide how much money I make or don't make from customer number one. So it was a good thing for me to show up. I had a damn good reason for not being there. And overall, other than one guy not being able to print, because that's always a thing that happens. Other than that, actually everything went really smoothly. So my week was fine, but long and exhausting. A lot of early mornings talking to people from different time zones who just have flown in and don't care what time it is. You know, one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
How was your weekend, or how was your week or weekend, Serenity?
I got Hogwarts Legacy. I did the thing that you can do with the Xbox, which is where you can put your Xbox in a different time zone. I put it in New Zealand and I played it an entire day early.
Oh, sweet.
So from about midday Monday onward, it's been nothing but Hogwarts.
I can't remember which Sega game it was, but if you would change your age in the preferences, the older you were, the larger the physics for the breast got in the game. So you set your age to 99, and then it just became this ridiculous, thing.
Yeah,
very funny.
The breast physics that Japan thinks breasts do are hilarious because they make me laugh because I'm like, oh, you all never seen real breasts in your entire life.
Yeah.
Every time. But
set it to 99 years. I don't remember. It was a fighting game, so there was a lot of opportunity.
I have a pretty good idea which one it is because there's a handful of them that do the breast physics.
I don't remember. We nicknamed it Panty Clash 5000. That's basically what it turned into. And I occasionally I'll have some of these same friends who I know used to play this try to get woke with me and tell me what a bad person I was. Like, look, I still remember when you were the person changing your age to 99. I didn't do it. You did it. So don't lecture me about how to be respectful of females.
I think Skep just accidentally closed his window.
Oh, he'll be back.
But yeah, no, it's between that. Make sure the animal is okay because around here weather has gotten schizophrenic because we went from being down in the teens at night to being up to 60 degrees during the day, and then we went back down to 40, and now it's going to get down to 20 something tonight. So it's making sure everybody's okay, and then figuring out what the fuck plants to plant in the garden this spring, and going from there.
What's the gameplay like on this Hogwarts thing? I mean, what do you actually do in this game?
I mean, there's the whole thing of like with these kinds of stories, you're always a something special, which is just a given in any
so it's a story-driven adventure thing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's combat in it, and you can go to class to kind of learn some things because you get assignments. And the favorite thing, because I am first and foremost an ARC player, so I love to collect animals because I am a Pokemon person as well. Well, I would be if I like to play Pokemon, but I like to collect the animals, and there's a part of the game where you can go out and collect mystical creatures. So I've been doing that.
So there are a lot of
Been-
quests. Basically, you'll walk around
yeah.
a corner and there's some little girl holding a dead goldfish in her hand, and then you have to go talk to her, and then you end up going and doing something because of that.
Well, it is Hogwarts, so there's stuff ranging from that to someone just trying to help their sister and end up casting a killing curse, which gets them arrested. So it's all the in-betweens. There's an entire, there's a massive world map, and you get to run through the Forbidden Forest, and you get to kill giant spiders, and I like it so far. Like I said before the show, there are some things that I would change, but that's the way it is with every single. Yes, hey, Camel, I actually am a Hufflepuff. I picked Hufflepuff.
So you have to pick. It doesn't like assign you.
What it does
puff?
is that when you go into it, because there's a thing in the Harry Potter world called the Sorting Hat, and the Sorting Hat talks to you and asks you like 2 questions, and depending on how you answer, it will auto sort you into one house, but you can tell it no, and it will then you can pick what house that it'll sort you into, which is what I did, because it tried to sort me into Ravenclaw, and I'm like, Ravenclaw will be second playthrough. I want to be Hufflepuff because I want to live in the fucking Hobbit hole looking common room, because it looks like a Hobbit hole, which I'm all for. But yeah, it's very well done. The Hogwarts castle is very well done. I like the fact that they, because of how good technology has gotten with video games and everything like that, it used to be when you play games where there were villages or towns, they would always try to act like they had these huge populations, but there was only like 5 buildings.
Mhm.
They actually have multiple buildings, and there's buildings out to the like the edge of town where there's people living that you can't just bust your ass into, that you gotta like pick locks to get into and stuff. But they've kind of, stuff has started to like build itself out so far, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. And
So
anybody-
have you noticed any symptoms of excess misogyny kicking in, from playing this game? Or is there any
Transphobia.
sneaky transphobia? Yeah,
there's
sorry.
a trans character in it. I think they could have picked a better voice actor for it, because the voice actor doesn't sound right to me.
Okay.
But yeah, no, there's a trans character.
Hi, I'm Tina. Welcome
Not
to my
quite.
potion shop.
I'm not going to spoil it, but yeah, my one issue is that they tried to make it. This is the only gripe I have about the personality of storytelling with it, is that they tried to make the trans character this anti-bully, and they transitioned while they were at Hogwarts kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, one, no, we're not doing, we transitioned when we were fucking 12 or 13. We're not doing that. 2, I'm sorry, I don't know what trans people you've run into, but all the ones I've run into are social anxiety, terrified of everything. There's no way in hell this trans character stood up to Slytherins as bullies.
In the
There is
1800s.
Yeah, it's like, no. In the Wizarding world, I can kind of understand race not being a thing, homosexuality. That was a thing I can understand, because that was never talked about in the past, so we can act like they were a little bit more accepting. That's fine. But it's just the whole fact of like, you are not going to be sitting there standing up to Slytherin bullies. You're not, honey. Because all they have to do is take the magic off of you, and you go back to looking the way you were, and they could bully you into oblivion. Don't. Don't
So
try to
that's
sit
that's not a winning strategy for the game then. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a very small part of it. You only interact with them like 2 or 3 times. Every other character in the game is well fleshed out, well thought out. And it's not necessarily she's otherwise not well fleshed out. It's just they're trying to make her look like she's tougher than what she is. And I don't doubt trans people can be tough. It's just when you're a teenager and you realize the fact that you're not in the right body and you have dysmorphia, you are easier to bully, not harder. You're not all of a sudden, yeah, this is who I am, fuck you. It's like, no, you're not. I don't know what teenagers you interacted with, but no.
So Assassin's saying 1800s England means class and social status is even more rigid. Well, except for this is the special thing. It's kind of like a college town, right? Society is on the whole may be that way, but it could just be Lord Byron running around eating grapes in his jockstrap all the time. You never know what the people in that social strata would be doing.
Well, it's also, this is right before, well, not right before, this is 1890, so this is about 40 years before Grindelwald and then Voldemort showed up. And that was when the purebloods tried to reinstate themselves as the true hierarchy of the wizarding world. So things are kind of in the way things were in the late Victorian era, pretty much everywhere, which they're a little bit in turmoil because you have new people with money now, you have the middle class becoming stronger, you have all this, so there's a little bit more turmoil. There's the trying of the rigidity of the English class during that time, but it was kind of not working because of things like speculation and stuff like that, which made it harder. I love Victorian shit, so I know a bunch of this bullshit that I really shouldn't know.
That's like the conflict within their own separate society.
Yeah.
And people tend to forget that like Muggle world, wizarding world are two very different societies. So whereas you say there's no real racism, not as we understand it, but there is still
there's the pure bloods and the mudbloods and the Muggles.
Given good reason because they were persecuted by Muggles hundreds of years previous, like
which is their version of an ism.
The stuff does make sense, it makes sense within the mythos. Yeah, it's just the things that we would consider as sort of divides don't really apply as much.
Yeah, because their population was so small that they kind of had to get over that whole
exactly. There is still or men, and obviously you see that there is still new money, kind of attitude every once in a while.
And that's kind of the thing that made, I think, a lot of people gravitate toward the Potterverse anyway. So it's one of those things that that is the only part of any of the character personalities that I didn't like, because it was it's kind of, to me, it was a placating thing. It was like, let's just throw a trans person in here and make them seem really tough and strong, so this way the trans people, trans activists, shut the fuck up and leave us the fuck alone.
Well, it's just hit the representation quota or whatever. But as long as it doesn't detract from the story, don't care. Some of these substitutions are just so glaring and so counter to what's in the book that it's hard not to notice. In this case, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, no, like I said, you deal with the character twice. I think they could have gotten a better voice, because I don't know why she wouldn't have changed her voice, because it still sounds fairly masculine, and they have the ability to change their voice in the wizarding world. So, but it's to me, like I said, it's a blatant trying to say, see, we have trans person, we're not against trans.
Shh, don't overthink it.
I know.
When during the previous books were we tipped off to the idea all through this, the repetitive hints that Dumbledore is gay throughout series, little hints that told us, he's really gay.
We weren't.
He's gay.
Grooming Harry.
Not you, Harry, other Harry.
God,
I know.
Minions of the Zoo does not equate homosexuality with grooming.
He technically was grooming Harry, just not for anything of a homosexual nature. He's grooming him to die.
Okay.
I mean, he was.
Is that a spoiler alert? I haven't read it yet.
Oh,
if you want, I can read off my essay to the parallels of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Skywalker.
No. But speaking now that we've got functional here,
what was your week like?
Functional, what was your week like? What would you like to share with the class?
Oh, I've been diving down the different AI programs, and anybody who watched last night know that we went for quite a while on that subject. So let's talk about something else tonight.
Yeah. Besides, if you talk to me about it, it's going to be machine learning and linear algebra, and that's not a conversation anybody but I think me and probably Skep want to have. So rather than do any of that,
and play Fallout.
Oh yeah,
that was my week.
I should play more video games, but my New Year's resolution was to eat more pizza and buy less pizza. So I've really just been doing a lot of making cheesecakes and I made like that. What is that? Tarte flambe, the Alsatian thing except instead of putting onions and Gruyere, like from Alsace. It's a flatbread type pizza sort of thing. So I made this flatbread pizza thing, but instead I put creme fraiche and smoked salmon and red onions, and I didn't have any American caviar, but I was making something fancy.
God, Harry, no American caviar. Jesus.
It's like a deconstructed bagel with a schmear.
It's not a deconstructed anything. It's a dish from Alsace.
So it's a deconstructed dish from Alsace. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I was enjoying cooking and stuff. So we all have our little hobbies. Speaking of people's...
Say Alsace just to make me happy.
Alsace?
Thank you.
Alsace?
Alsace. That's
Okay.
how we...
Oh, by golly gee.
So what about... Okay, so I'm going to get it right this time. What about this? This is tomorrow, right? We've confirmed that I'm not off by a week this time.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
It's
Actually,
superb.
the Biden administration has downgraded it to just better than average Owl Sunday.
It's the
Well,
Jets against the Chiefs against the Jets.
It's the administration of disappointment.
Yeah, it's all terrible.
Yeah.
But
How
I
about
was actually thinking one of the things we could look at is alternatives
Puppy
to the Super
Bowl!
Bowl. So I figured, what the hell? I have limited articles remaining. Well, it's a good thing we've got this one right here from Delaware Online. So the first alternative
Limited
is...
articles on Delaware Online.
Yeah, I know, because that's really valuable. I better subscribe quickly. It's all
Hit
Joe
that
Biden
paywall.
news all the time. So Puppy Bowl, of course, because who
Yeah.
doesn't love the Puppy Bowl? I do.
I love the Puppy Bowl and the Kitty Cat Bowl. The Kitty Cat Bowl.
Well, I guess there's also the Great American Rescue Bowl, so you can
Yeah.
have even more puppies, because why not?
That's
Super
fun.
Bowl protest parties. Does anybody really want to watch The Last of Us? Is it any good?
No, I don't know. I didn't like the video game, so I'm not watching the show.
I don't like the video game. The show is frustrating, but somewhat entertaining because I'm obviously Fallout, Walking Dead. Like I'm really into that sort of post-apocalyptic kind of genre. So it's keeping me in to like watch it through to the end of the season. But it's a hard watch. It's really hard,
I've heard that.
difficult.
I mean,
Although-
didn't we spend enough time inside binge watching TV during the whole stupid pandemic?
I was just
Isn't
going
it time to
say,
go
Yeah,
out
some of us
freaking
did.
side?
This is pandemic behavior. Exactly.
It
what
is.
I will say, as a massive fan of that '70s show, that '90s show did not disappoint. It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
that 90 show is really good so far.
If you have to like those cheesy '80s '90s style sitcoms. Otherwise, completely avoid it. It's
Yeah.
bubblegum TV. But if you really like that '70s show, it's a good follow up.
Well, I used to make a regular habit of going to the mall or taking in a restaurant that was hard to get into or whatever during the Super Bowl.
Best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, find that restaurant that you normally can't get into and go there.
Yeah.
I'm playing D&D tomorrow, so that's not occurring for me.
Yeah, just do something. And of course, but I mean, Puppy Bowl, that's solid entertainment.
Oh, I love
like
Puppy
the-
Bowl.
What channel
the
is that
Puppy Bowl.
on? HBO
Um,
Max,
Uh,
Discovery
let's
Plus, and
see.
HBO Max.
Have you
Animal
watched
Planet.
Animal
Planet.
Planet, Discovery, TBS, Discovery Plus, and HBO Max?
Yeah.
I might actually watch that.
Oh, the Puppy
Yeah.
Bowl's great, and then they have
I've
the
never seen it
halftime
before,
show-
but I mean,
they have the halftime
I
show
like
with the
puppies.
hamsters.
I like bowls.
They have and then they have the news reporter who's a bird.
It's like
I love
this.
I love it.
No way.
I love it.
Yeah,
And
they get penalties and
Why is
clean up on the
He's
field.
assaulting the ref. Give him a card. What are you doing?
Oh, the
This
funny
ref
thing
is a pushover.
Of course.
They'll have
Aw.
they'll have the Hoover ad. I think it's either Hoover or Bissell normally, and then they have those ones who are.
There's
got on
instant
equal
replays of
legs.
particularly cute moments. Yeah.
Yep, it's great. It's been going on
Aw.
for like 10+ years at this point.
Yeah.
Because I remember when it first started on Animal Planet, man. Hey, babe. Ugh, God,
Anyway, puppies. Yeah, that's what I'm not going to be watching the Super Bowl. I literally don't even know who's playing. It's
it's the Jets against the Chiefs, man. Come on now.
it is.
I don't even. Yeah. Where are those from?
Chiefs are Kansas City. Jets are. I want to say Pennsylvania. I can't remember. I just remember the Chiefs because I like the Chiefs.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Well, anyway,
I'm sure
that's
someone
a
in
thing.
chat will.
Chiefs, Eagles. So where's Eagles?
Was it the Eagles, not the Jets? Okay.
Oh,
I don't-
Philadelphia. I know that
Philadelphia
one.
Eagles,
My
okay.
You
friend- I
guys
have a
barely
friend-
know, so I feel better about myself. So, have you guys been following this Project Veritas dust up? It seems like there's some
Vaguely.
internal noise concerning James O'Keefe. They've sort of put him on leave. And there was a thing that broke on Rogan just recently. They were claiming that a group of people who've donated a lot of money were saying, what the hell are you doing? We didn't donate money not to have James O'Keefe doing what he does.
Which is a fair point.
So, I mean, I've been trying to follow this, but it's just so much inside baseball kind of stuff, you know. How do I know if he's a jerk to people at the thing? He might be the most insufferable, hard to deal with person there is. I can easily imagine him being not a fun person to work with.
I mean, considering the job he does, I understand.
Yeah.
But it's like anything. You have a choice to take the job there. Don't have the job there.
Well, because it won't be Project Veritas without him.
Yeah.
This isn't like a thing that he's created that's going to outlive him. You know, it really needs somebody like him who may be a jerk at the helm.
Yeah.
You can't just get rid of it and then still have it be Project Veritas.
Oh, yeah.
But it raises the very real question of, well, if they do get rid of him and other people take over and sort of change the direction of the company, does that mean that the donations were made in good faith?
We're changing Project Veritas's focus. Instead of being against so many things, we're going to be for things, starting with our friends in China.
Nice.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Can we make it a kinder, gentler, more intersectional Project Veritas?
The Chinese army bases in California in return for forgiving 50% of the debt China owns. That's gonna happen. That shit is going to happen. You guaranteed. You'll see it in 20 years.
I completely disagree with you. No, we won't.
Yep. If you don't, it will be because China is in some economically inspired conflict.
Well, I mean, they're in an economic conflict now.
No. I mean a hot war with somebody. Maybe Russia. Maybe
pretty
India.
soon.
India.
India.
Watch and see what happens in
fun.
about 20 years.
I need to start stockpiling a lot more black tea if that's going to happen.
There you go.
But as far
I'm speculating. I'm having a bit of fun with it. But those are not unrealistic speculations. I don't believe.
I agree.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if we got to when you're dealing with like a sovereign nation, defaulting looks a lot different than it does if you're like Liberia taking loans from the Chinese through some international thing like the World Bank.
There's the road thingy they did, whatever that's called, and like it's like the Chinese road thing that they did with a bunch of countries like Afghanistan and stuff like that,
and Pakistan too.
Like,
north-south highway that
that's what
goes the entire length of Pakistan. Come hell or high water, the Chinese blasted through it, tunneled through it, made this road so they could get that fucking whatever it was they were trucking out of the mountains down to the cobalt or chromium or whatever the hell it was, and get it loaded on ships to get it refined.
Well, a lot of those countries have gone bankrupt, so they can't even provide anything anymore.
Don't worry, Pakistan will be fine, and they're a nuclear power. It'll be okay.
That does change your the way you default on things, doesn't it?
It sure does. Sure does.
As far as the Veritas thing, it's probably shocking to no one. To me, my radar's going off, and something smells a little fishy.
Oh yeah,
something is rotten in Denmark. I don't.
Yeah.
So I have a question. What?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I had a question on. Okay, I know how corporations with board of directors, there's the clear motive to create product or service and make money for the shareholders. How does that apply to a nonprofit? What is the defining, I guess,
it depends
motivation
greatly
for the board.
Well, that's the thing. It depends on how things are structured.
Well, which kind of nonprofit are they? Does anybody know? Are this a 403c or is this a not-for-profit corporation? Because PACs don't have the same tax treatment as charitable organizations. So political organizations are different than charitable organizations, are different than not-for-profit companies.
They're a 501c3.
501c3. So they actually are. That is charitable and tax deductible, I believe.
should know this because I have a background in fucking.
But the point is, they have to file paperwork basically saying, you know, how they use the money. They have to do sort of like a little mini tax return.
Okay, here's the thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but they have an information statement they have to put out, essentially because of their tax status. I mean, Skep probably knows way more about this than I do. Go ahead, Skep.
Well, I was just going to say, James O'Keefe, said that the political committee that was created in his name, because when you look up PACs, if you know where to look for there is one that says it's Project Veritas, but O'Keefe has denounced that and said it's fraudulent, and it looks like it was set up by a troll. So if you're finding that and thinking that Veritas is a PAC, it looks like it's not. It looks like it might be just a charitable outfit.
At least what the tax code states, the 501c3.
A not-for-profit. I mean.
Yeah. Our organizations described in section are commonly referred to charitable organizations. Organizations described in this, other than testing for public safety organizations, are eligible to receive tax-deductible contributions in accordance with Code Section 170.
Yeah, that makes raising money a hell of a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But just like if you give money to Joe candidate to run for Congress, that is not tax deductible. But if you give money to a charitable organization, that is deductible. So, you know, that's fine. I mean, so if they have donors that are pissed off because O'Keefe might be being run out, then the question is, who stands to gain from this little internal power structure? And when there's this much money lying around, I don't know. There's a ton of people. We just don't know as outsiders, honestly.
And on a similar vein, it's kind of funny how, at least I haven't seen it, so it may just be because I'm not looking, how the Daily Wire Crowder thing just disappeared, and now this. Mm-hmm. It's just very interesting. But anyway.
Well, the Daily...
That's why it stinks for me.
Well, the Daily Wire thing was just weird because normally people don't air that kind of laundry in public. It was just really strange. I don't know what kind of game Crowder was playing by going public. It's like, if you don't like the deal, you don't have to take the deal. But why are we...
Because he wanted more people to buy into his thing. That's the reason why.
Yeah, that didn't feel right either. That was sort of one of those things like, I don't feel like we should be paying attention to this.
Yeah, that's the reason why I ignored it. But it was just, it's funny how that happened a couple weeks go by. This happens a couple weeks go by. It's going to be interesting to see who's next.
I think you'll get some information that'll clear up the O'Keefe thing here shortly.
Yeah. I mean, examples of how he's supposedly been abusive to staff would be useful.
Exactly.
So if that's the case, I think we're going to hear about it pretty soon.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you know, being at a company that's infamous for getting things on camera, you might have been able to get one instance, even something soft, of him doing something bad on video or being a big old meanie on video. None of this.
Agreed.
None of this.
It's got a fishy smell. It's got a fishy smell.
So you want to talk about balloons?
Do it.
Okay, so apparently...
Is this about that shop teacher?
No, that was paraballoons over Toronto, I think. This is one large balloon over Canada. Or I'm sorry, near the Canadian-Alaskan border. So we shot down another thing, this time a little bit, it's just another balloon, but over Alaska. And I was curious what kind of missile we were using to shoot these things down, because, of course, a heat-seeking missile doesn't really do much for a balloon as a target. So these are just the good old AIM-9 missiles that we've been shooting these down with.
AIM-9L is what they shot. It's a $396,000 missile.
Yeah. So there's its picture, looking good. So yeah, if you wanted, I don't think these balloons cost that much to make. This seems like a pretty good strategy to just cost us $400,000 at a time by sending stupid ass balloons over here.
I mean, they're just going to be sitting there anyway. They don't need much of a payload either. Not for a balloon.
But it's still, every time they do this, we have to scramble. Well, they sent an F-35 up to take a look at it, and they said, yep, that's a balloon. And then later they launched an F-22, beautiful airplane. And then, it's not like those things fly for free. Okay, so they sent...
The F-35 could have been sent up there with an MKM pod and that 25mm Gatling gun, and they could have just hosed it down. If you've seen what those 25 millimeter, what that thing does to like 2-inch armor. 2-inch armor goes through it like water.
Like butter.
Like fucking water. I mean in a cylindrical hole. Won't even explode if depending on the kind of fuse you have. Jeez, you can blow that thing up easy.
Yeah.
I'm saying just send an A10 up there and just have the Gatling gun go off. That's all you gotta
I think
do.
an A10's going to hit 60,000 feet.
No.
Hey, just have him lean up. Just lean up.
I know, not with that attitude.
I agree with you, Skep, because again, it's just a balloon. All you have to do is puncture it, and it's going to come down, and then you recover it. And why is it that the first one was shot down, they recovered it, there hasn't been any sort of confirmation, oh yeah, this looks like it came from China? I really want to know.
Because it's the government. Did you actually think they just opened their mouths?
I suspect that when something like that falls into the hands of the government, there are so many empires that have a dog in the fight that it kind of that information goes into a temporary paralysis state, where only a very few people can look at it, and then there are meetings, and they have meetings to decide who else can look at this and what the dissemination schedule will be, and what clearances, who's going to need to know it. There's all kinds of politics and petty little vendettas and all kind of bullshit that human beings do, all mixed in with that, and that's why this is just almost a random.
Well, it's also
no telling when.
They're probably screaming at China right now too, going, "What the fuck is this?" So there's probably a lot of that bullshit too. So I don't expect we'll find anything out for 6 months. I honest to God don't think we'll find out anything before then. But
well, this seems like an amazing nothing burger. I mean, as much of a nothing burger as us making us spend a lot of money every time we shoot one of these things down is.
Well, my thing with that
it's good practice for those guys.
Well, that's the thing. Like for the pilots, they have to get their hours in anyway. And they would just have them doing stupid test flights.
Hey, America, you want another $500,000 balloon?
We had the money anyway at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's costing them, you could basically just throw these things together. It might cost you $10,000, maybe 20 to launch one of these. You're in
the air for 10 grand. Trust me, in China, you're in the air for 10 grand.
It just depends on how elaborate you want the crap hanging from it to look. It's not expensive.
But if it is indeed these balloons are from China, that's why I agree with you, Skep, about they're about ready to mobilize something, because this seems like they're dipping their toe in the American water and sort of saying, okay, so what's gonna how's America gonna be acting
Taiwan
right now?
No, they're gonna blockade Taiwan. That is coming. If you don't get a militarily plugged in president in the next election, I promise you, this is just about to happen. They are about to blockade Taiwan, and they'll say, hey, the blockade vanishes, we go back status quo ante, we'll even sign a treaty, and all you have to do is make these chips for us. That's all you have to do. That's all they care about right now.
That's why TSMC is moving as much stuff into the American Southwest as possible.
That's happening. That is a thing.
Yeah,
it's interesting, that.
Yeah, no, it's been going on. Well, not only TSMC is moving a bunch of stuff, but the Americans aren't exactly taking it lying down. Intel's investing a buttload of money into new fabs in in this area. So it'll be good high-paying jobs with a small chance of birth defects, because those chemicals are not fun. Yeah, when people say we want those kinds of jobs brought back over here, they are actually, some of that stuff can be pretty dangerous. The things they do for semiconductor manufacturing are really amazingly toxic.
The chromate solutions that they use, let me tell you how toxic these things are, Harry. If you were wearing normal plastic lab gloves that a chemist wears, the black ones, beautiful black plastic ones that seem impervious to everything,
the nitrile ones, the big heavy super ones,
you got it. If you spilled 5 drops on the wrist of that glove, that's all you would have to do. That's all you'd have. You are a dead man. you will spend about the next year dying.
That sounds fun.
Oh my God! And the I have a case history you can read online of the woman who discovered, she was a research chemist who discovered you could die that way. It was horrible. It's just when you say toxic, boy, this is the most toxic stuff on earth. Some of the stuff.
Well, I do. I have numerous friends who've worked in this industry. Not so much on the production lines, but in the facilities that develop the procedures that they run in the production lines. So throughout Silicon Valley, they have a bunch of these little research and development things where they have like little mini fabs. Right. And they'll use it to make chips or hard drives or NAND memory, whatever it is. Right. And so they have to basically do all of that stuff and figure out what the process looks like. And
we were fabbing them. We were fabbing them in a barn. Me and two friends trying to start North Texas Circuit Board in 1984.
Nice.
And we were trying to manufacture successfully 8-bit chips, and we couldn't do it economically. Is what we discovered.
There is a guy who actually sort of as a hobby, has successfully set up a fab in his garage. Just see if I can find that story. It's actually kind of interesting.
This. You can do this.
Well, I mean, there's a guy who is doing it.
I have looked into this as deeply as probably almost anybody you know, and it's amazing what goes into it, and that it happens at all now.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the entry barriers are much, much higher than what they were, back then. The size of the bus, it's just...
So in terms of us blowing up things that can't shoot back, have you heard much about the rumors, I guess? I need to get my big allegedly thing out. We'll get this out, right? Okay.
Yep.
Those rumors started like 30 seconds after the pipeline got blown.
Yeah, but here we have a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist making the allegations, so it isn't just...
Hirsch?
Yeah.
The guy's been not that good for like the last decade. He's 85 years old. I don't really care if he won a Pulitzer Prize.
Maybe he's a spry 85. But here's what is claimed. Here's what's claimed. Last June, the Navy divers operating under the cover of a widely publicized midsummer NATO exercise known as Baltops 22, great name, planted the remotely triggered explosives that 3 months later destroyed 3 of the 4 Nord Stream pipelines, according to a source with direct knowledge of the operational planning. Flash this again. Okay, there we go. 2 of the pipelines, which were known collectively as Nord Stream 1, had been providing Germany and much of Western Europe with cheap Russian natural gas for more than a decade. The second pair of pipelines, called Nord Stream 2, had been built but not operational now, with Russian troops massing blah, 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 blah. So Biden's decision to sabotage the pipelines came after more than 9 months of highly secret back and forth debate into Washington's national security community about how to best achieve the goal. It really wasn't a discussion of how it happened, but how they could do it without getting caught. That's what Hirsch is basically alleging.
So they hired contractors, aka ex-SEALs, and who are now working for themselves and probably went out. That sounds actually pretty plausible to me. I'm not saying it did happen, but I'm saying it does not sound implausible. There's nothing about this that sounds crazy.
Yeah, and it would be a hard thing to sort of disprove because, you're talking about like a conspiracy involving people that we can't really pin down. So how do you disprove something like this? I don't know if you can. It's not provable or disprovable easily by any of us.
And that's my problem with it, is that this is way too innocuous. Like, well, I have leaks. Okay, that's lovely. I can make leaks up out of my ass too that say that this didn't happen, that it was the Germans or the Russians. Like, I need actual proof. Not
we have
just
motive.
I have leaks.
But we have motive, means, and opportunity.
There's motive and means and opportunity for other people too, especially if they can blame it on America and make us the bad guy again.
Well, what's another? Does. Who else do you think had motive, means, and opportunity to do this?
I mean,
no, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I'm just trying to think who are the.
You're good. You're good.
It's not meant to be a dickish question, but I mean, I've thought of who benefits the most from it, And the Russians could just turn the tap off. They don't need to do this. And I don't see how it would benefit any of the Europeans. So we're just kind of left with America, aren't we?
Well, the thing is, it's a PR game, though.
Yeah.
Russia looks like shit right now. And it was looking like shit even back then. If they can somehow pin this on America and make America look like the bully, their story of being bullied by America and NATO goes through. Sometimes you got to rob Peter to pay Paul. It could just be the Russians just as easily.
Yeah, they're the Amber Heard in this thing, basically.
They could be. They could not be. I could be very wrong. But the thing is there's a too much of a thing where America is always Satan until we need you. And that's the thing that I don't like. Okay, fine. America did it. What are y'all going to do about it?
Sorry, I'm laughing at Addie's comment.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree with Sir Adamantine. But it's just my thing of people have a tendency, if America is made to look evil, it's automatically true. And I'm not saying anybody on this panel does it, but a lot of people online do that. Mm-hmm. No one ever looks at it from, well, what if someone's playing the long con? What if there's a manipulation going on here? What if there's a PR game going on here? What if something else is going on? What if it's a third party that did it? What if or what else? Like, no one wants to actually look into shit and actually look into, well, is this possible? Could the Germans have done it? And just this way they can act like, well, not our fault, and then do something else. Could have been
Greta and Klaus Schwab. I mean, that would have been hilarious.
I know that'd be funny, but it's one of those things that I get tired of. And I'm not once again, I'm not saying anybody on this panel is doing it, but it's like, I get tired of the whole idea of like, well, of course, because America is the only one who would have done it. No, there's a lot of other people that could have done shit. It's just you all don't want to look at anyone else because we're the easy target. Because for the most part, America goes, nah, all right. Believe what you want to believe. There's nothing I can do to tell you otherwise because you're not going to listen to me. But you still need us for our weapons. You still need us for your protection. So you're just going to go, well, it's not fair and it wasn't right. And then you're just going to go back to kissing our ass behind the scenes and then screaming at us in public.
Well, didn't Gaffamin Joe make a number of comments in the not too distant past about how this pipeline was going to need to be shut down?
I mean, yeah, but that once again, that could be a PR game.
It could be.
For the other side. Like, it's like, oh, this idiot said stupid shit. Like, he's always said stupid shit since he was a vice president. Let's use that to our advantage. It's until there's more than just one article claiming that there's, I don't care if he's a Pulitzer Prize. He said some stuff that I don't entirely agree with, and he still hasn't backed up entirely. I need more than that. Like, Germany needs to do an investigation into this and like sack up, or something like that. But it's like, I'm not saying we couldn't have done it. I have no doubt we have every thought process that we absolutely can. But it's just this was starting 30 seconds after the damn thing blew. I mean, it took this long for these articles to come out, considering that it's a prime clickbait. But yeah, it's just I need more. And
we do need more. But for the time being, this is the titillating possibility. So here's something completely innocuous, just to break things up a little bit. The best and worst drivers by state.
Oh, Ohio better be on that list.
Are we going to go through all the drivers?
We are not going to go through all of the drivers. There's Fred. Fred is an excellent driver.
Oh, Utah. Ooh, Utah.
Yeah, so in terms of worst drivers, now this is based on insurance claims and accidents, right? So this is good data because it's basically who got in accidents the most often. Utah. Worst driving rank, closely followed by California. You're welcome, the great state of California. And then Iowa. Now in terms, Iowa.
What?
The
fuck
now, in terms of overall best drivers, here's your state, number 3. We've got Connecticut, Michigan, and then West Virginia. Now, you guys were actually number 1 not that long ago, but apparently you guys have started speeding like just, madmen lately.
I can attest to this. I drive on these highways, yeah.
Yeah. West Virginia is home to some fantastic drivers. They just have to slow down a little. Drivers in West Virginia have gone from first to second to third on our list of best driving states because of a high number of speeding tickets. The Mountain State ranks 48th in accidents, 46th in citations, 44th in DUIs, and 36th in speeding tickets. So there you go.
Yeah, we have lead feet. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, California, lots of accidents. And I mean, I wonder how many of these are actually just fraud.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Because, yeah, there are a lot of accidents. Somebody tried very hard to sort of kill me on the way home today. It was not a fun drive. But just all the amount of automotive fraud for insurance that takes place is probably driving these numbers way up.
Or aren't citations also for driving without a license?
Well, it could be for anything, yeah.
Because I'm going to be that asshole and say, California might be one of the worst states because of some illegal.
They'd probably just let them go, honestly.
It's like, oh, we're a sanctuary state. Fuck it.
Just too much paperwork, honestly. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was interesting. So in the contest between your state and my state, Serenity, you're kicking our ass in terms of good driving.
Fuck you.
Let's see. So we got that.
We just also don't have that large of a population. It's 2 million people in a state that's half the square mileage of England.
There's Seymour Hirsch. Okay, so I was going to talk about DARPA because I thought that might be fun, looking backwards at things a little bit.
Oh boy.
So Skep knows what DARPA is. Do the rest of you guys know what DARPA is? Chat, do you know what DARPA is?
I'm sure Assassin does.
That's where I met Bob Moose. You know who Bob Moose is?
Not
Bob Moose, no.
He wrote the program Ping.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. He developed it at DARPA. That was a DARPA deal.
Oh, it's the Research and Development Branch of the United States Department of Defense. Okay.
Well, it used to be the Advanced Research Projects Agency, because there was this little thing that happened. It was called Sputnik. And it pretty much lit a fire under us to get our shit together because
they could not appropriate that money fast enough.
They could not appropriate it fast enough. So you got the MGM program in schools, you got all this stuff, and you got ARPA, and which later became DARPA. Now, this is through the Department of Defense, but their main thing that DARPA does is they're like an angel investor who, in some sense, almost doesn't care if you fail. They will go in and put money into things just to try to make stuff happen.
That's exactly right.
And unlike other, they differentiate themselves from a lot of other government programs in a few sort of key ways. I see. I think they list them here in this fine PDF file here. Forget the organizational structure. The DARPA model. So DARPA attributes its long history of successful innovation to 4 factors: trust and autonomy, limited tenure, and the urgency it promotes, meaning this will not be something that you do for your entire political career. Okay. Yeah. They basically bring you in, you work on a thing, and then you go do something else. This is a short-term type of thing. A sense of mission and risk-taking and avoidance and tolerance for failure, meaning they will put money into something, and if it doesn't pan out, they'll just kill it off. But they're willing to try stuff that even angel investors typically won't.
Which is a good thing, I think, because it gives you more freedom to try shit, and then you go, oh, well, it didn't work, goodbye.
Well, do you know sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the things that DARPA evaluated was psychic abilities.
They did.
Is that what the movie Men with Goats is based on?
The Men Who Stare at Goats, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
So I thought I would just list some of these DARPA innovations. Not all of these are actually amazing, but just sort of going through this listicle really quickly. The first one that you may have heard of is this little thing called the Internet. A lot of the early money for ARPANET, which was the predecessor to the Internet, all came through DARPA. This is, that's a whole subject of and into itself, but yeah, the Internet is a good thing. So GPS is another DARPA thing. It's actually really hard to build a global positioning system because, for one thing, it requires a lot of very, very, very accurate timekeeping and satellites, a lot of them. Making this into something where you can literally have a GPS chip in a device that costs just tens of cents is an astonishing accomplishment.
Yes, it is.
It is. So
the pager that calls you for your reservation at the restaurant is a fucking miracle.
It is. Stupid robots at Boston Dynamics don't care. Cyborg insects. So they actually did a study where they were trying to essentially make cyborgs out of insects by implanting stuff in them in the pupa stage.
Yeah.
That's where
why
the
not?
crazy tinfoil hat people keep getting, where they pull like horseflies and act like they're fucking robots, and then
That's right.
fool all the city people who are like,
So-
that's a robot. It's like, it's not.
So did Xerox get the mouse idea from DARPA?
Well, they're claiming that they put a bunch of money into GUIs a long time ago, back in the beginning. So I'm sure Xerox got some of that money.
Yeah, probably.
It says, moving away from DARPA's creepier things. Okay, familiar with the graphical user interface, or GUI, and mouse. The technology is almost certainly much older than people realize, having been created by Douglas Engelbart in the 1960s, who gave the first public demo of the technology in 1968. It was rather more basic than what we think of as a computer interface now, but it laid the foundations for the desktop metaphor we use on our computers today. So,
I love them.
yeah, you know, all the Xerox PARC stuff was pretty cool.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Gem. Back when I was working on my Atari 512, it was actually ran Gem DOS, so all of the graphics and stuff used Gem.
Absolutely.
So I actually used Gem drawing primitives to create little 3D looking time series analysis. I was running FOIA analysis on sound things with my own software that I wrote. So I wrote all the software in C and all the stuff that did the graphing in C as well. None of this real-time stuff. It was all... but I had to do all of it using Gem drawing primitives, so I know what this system is like.
What
Gem
year
is
was
really
that you
old.
were doing that?
I
was going to say
it was
that
in the,
sounds
it was
like
in the it was in the late 80s.
I was going to say it sounds like that was a minute ago.
Yeah, feels like it. Onion routing, which is the thing that the Tor network uses, that's another DARPA thing, because a big part of DARPA, one of the things they liked putting money behind was making survivable networks. So you didn't want like an explosion or a line getting dug up by a backhoe somewhere to take down all of the data that the Department of Defense is sending around.
Yep.
Yeah, so you had to come up with ways to make it more survivable, and onion routing is a way to do that. So you can essentially overlay networks on public internet that are survivable.
That's so cool.
Let's see, human universal load carrier, basically your exoskeleton thing, so you can be like Ripley fighting off the aliens. That's a DARPA thing. Siri was another DARPA thing. And of course, HARP, which is super fun because there's a lot of conspiracy theories about HARP, which essentially has a giant phased array of super powerful radio antennas, and they're heating up pieces of the atmosphere selectively for research purposes.
Right.
You can just sort of say, we want to see what happens if that piece of the atmosphere gets a lot warmer, you know, for reasons. So that's HARP. And then ultimately this thing called Sea Shadow, which was this huge ass stealth ship that they built actually at the Sunnyvale Skunk Works for Lockheed Martin. This is the thing. So all of our new stealth destroyers and stealth boats and stuff are really derived from the technology that this thing came up with.
Here's the problem with stealth ships, in my opinion. You can make it a lot harder to see when you're at sea. But here's the thing. When you're at sea and your head becomes accustomed to looking at the ocean and nothing but the ocean. I mean nothing but the ocean for, you know, days on end. You get to where any tiny disturbance in your field of view on the horizon, when you're looking, you know, over the waves, you can see a rowboat. It's amazing how much better your vision gets after a few days at sea. But you just get accustomed to that. Anyway.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I can.
That's why submarines are going to be around for a long time.
Submarines going to be around. You know, it's just you can pick this thing up visually. Now, one of the things the other thing that's happening with these weapons platforms, you know, the destroyers have become weapons platforms for missiles essentially, and they're they look at fighting a lot of standoff battles, which involves knowing where the enemy is, staying far enough away from them, and having better range weapons than they have. Then you can just kill them at your leisure.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, that's the situation between the United States and China right now, particularly in the Navy. Their Navy is nothing. It is a paper Navy. It is absolutely nothing but fit for anything but ferrying their army around. Really well and truly.
They're just taking up space in the ocean, and sometimes that's the whole mission. Just take up space in the ocean so we can claim shit.
Yeah, we can change. The United States Navy will change the altitude of their ships, if you take my meaning.
I understand. So I thought maybe we could look at the 10 maddest of the mad science projects funded by DARPA while we're at it. So we have Mecha Elephant. In 1966, DARPA commissioned a study to identify the types of surface vehicles whose physical and performance characteristics would vastly improve the present limited capability of transporting cargo and personnel cross-country over various types of terrain to South Vietnam. The researchers concluded that top priority should be given to an R&D program for a narrow trail vehicle that is capable of transporting personnel and cargo in mountains terrain along narrow winding jungle trails with steep slopes. Something that can carry troops. So basically, it's like a big mechanized elephant thing that they were going to think about doing. There's the paranormal abilities thing that we were talking about, as seen in the movie The Men Who Look at Goats. In fact, they put a whole bunch of money into the paranormal a whole bunch of times, trying to see if there was any there.
Oh,
Were they the ones who like asked a whole bunch of people like during like I think it was the 60s or 70s to show up at the Pentagon and try to lift the Pentagon with their mind? Are they those people?
No, I don't think that was.
Crazies?
But they did put money into remote viewing and all sorts of other stuff, you know. Yeah. So you'd have these guys go on the Art Bell show, like Major Ed Dames, making all these claims about his, government-funded remote viewing activities.
Okay.
Now, I don't put any credence at all into any of that sort of stuff. I'm not necessarily going to say that they don't believe what they're saying, but somebody would have to give me some kind of explanation for a mechanism by which such a thing would be possible before I'm going to entertain the notion.
Yeah.
You know, or produce some amazing results. So they can use remote viewing to figure out who blew up Nord Stream.
There you go.
Sure, why not? Let's make a synthetic polio virus, because, as one does, it was part of the Unconventional Pathogen Countermeasures Program in order to develop and demonstrate defensive technologies which afford the greatest protection to uniformed warfighters and the defense personnel who support them during U.S. military operations. So yeah, they spent $300,000 to fund a trio of scientists who thought it would be a neat idea to synthesize polio. They constructed the virus using its genome sequence, which was available on the internet, and to obtain the genetic material from companies that sell made-to-order DNA.
I'm going to stand up for these guys.
For synthetic biology? Go ahead.
Yep. I've got to tell you, we have got to master this type of technology. This is the right kind of technology to be working in. It's the right thing to advance. I don't think necessarily that synthesizing, poliomyelitis causing virus is a grand idea. But I'm not sure how responsible that was. I wonder if they did that just to be showy. It seems like there's a lot of encapsulated virus we know a lot about that they could have picked that would be less obnoxious than polio, but polio would get a lot of clicks, I guess, get a lot of attention, and that's part of the game in the medical research business. Sorry.
Well, what about a mothership for your underwater and aerial drones?
Yeah.
We'll call it Hydra, because that's a great name for it.
Until someone was a comic book geek and just decided they could get away with it. It's like, let me see if I can get away with this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to have that. So let's see, building an AI for war. Yeah. Sure. I know, kill surprise there, right? Okay.
Next.
The hafnium bomb.
Play a game.
See, DARPA spent $30 million to build a hafnium bomb, a weapon that never existed and probably never will. Would-be creator Carl Collins was a physics professor from Texas who in 1999 claimed that he had used dental X-ray machines to release energy from a trace of the isomer of hafnium-178. Yeah, this doesn't work. But they put $30 million into it because...
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm-
You just hit it with X-rays, Skep.
And wait, what? And what
An
happens
isomer,
here?
yeah, in
No,
theory,
no.
isomers might store millions of times more triggerable energy than is contained in chemical high explosives.
No, that's not how particles work. That's not
That's
how
how the
any
dentist
of this
thought it worked.
Yeah. But we got to put money into this thing, because why not?
Hey, might as well try just to make sure he's wrong.
I hadn't read that.
Oh, yeah, I remember total information awareness. Okay, that's... Sorry, well, we're not going to pay attention to that, because that's almost a thing.
Orwell.
The flying Humvee, because...
Oh, God, yeah.
I want a flying Humvee, do you?
No.
Handheld fusion reactor? Yes.
Yes, I want a Mr. Fusion.
Yeah, $3 million
Fallout,
for that.
baby.
Yeah.
I'll take out a note.
But yeah, DARPA's been doing a lot of stuff for a long time, and I'm just glad they're on our side.
Yeah, me too.
Good stuff. Let's see, what is the next thing we were going to talk about?
Thing we had all those Nazi scientists. Former
Let's
Nazi
see.
scientists.
DARPA. Oh yeah, this is under, I have this listed as not DARPA. Okay, a climate change activist goes rogue, releasing mini volcanoes to cool atmosphere. What could go wrong with private individuals trying to do geoengineering?
Sure.
I mean, I ask you, doesn't this seem perfectly rational? No, stupid thing. Now it's not letting me in here. Basically, there's a company in Mexico that's saying, what if we just put a bunch of sulfur particles into the atmosphere to cool it? That sounds like a plan. Did anybody here
Are
see
you
the...
kidding me? Does anybody know how H2SO4 comes together?
I do.
Talking about acid rain. My God.
But did anybody see the show Dinosaurs when it was on?
Yeah.
This seems
I
like a
did not.
show that Serenity might have seen. Functional seen it. It basically ends with things getting too hot. So they're trying to figure out how to make it rain. And then they say, well, where do clouds come from? Well, they come out of volcanoes. So they just start dropping bombs in volcanoes. And then it ends with all the dinosaurs dying. That's the end of a show for families and children.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Because what could go wrong with trying to make miniature volcanoes? First of all, just drilling into the earth sort of haphazardly in areas where the crust is thin enough to do something like this. No.
Yeah.
I mean, since the Air Force is, strapped for things to shoot Sidewinder missiles at, I think I found a few targets.
If you just want to put a lot of sulfur into the atmosphere, you could just go start. No, never mind. Don't say what I'm about to say. Yeah, that would be wrong. So I think this is probably not a great idea.
I agree. Digging down into what might be a magma chamber with a big old gas bubble in it, and all of a sudden you have high pressure, extremely hot, 800-degree, 1,000-degree air shooting out bits of molten lava into your face. No, don't dig there.
So you as a are you a big L libertarian or a small L libertarian, Skep?
Small L.
Okay.
L. I'm intelligent. I don't want private armies and all that stuff. That's dumb.
Okay, so the government is generally bad at pretty much everything. But I think on the short list of things that they might be able to do a good job at is not letting Bond supervillains try to change the climate on their own.
Yeah.
Does that seem like a legitimate use of government to you?
It's certainly in a representative way to say to them, look, if you want to be friends with us, and being friends with us is good, you shouldn't do this thing. Please stop doing this thing so we can still be friends. Otherwise, we'll be enemies, and that would be expensive for you.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
That's all you should have to say. If you had a president, we don't. We have a corpse.
So this is absolutely maddening, and I almost don't want to bring this up. You remember Oakland, right?
Yeah, there's no there.
So there's a place, Angel Cakes, and supposedly they've got 720 reviews with 5 stars, and they make fantastic cupcakes in Oakland.
What is it? 745 Fifth? It's a shit neighborhood.
It is a shit neighborhood. So this is what happened. Okay. I might have to adjust the audio to make sure you can actually hear. Technical excellence.
That's down there.
Together tonight to support a beloved baker. She was hurt in a violent robbery, leaving her on life support.
Jen is nothing but a community builder. So everywhere she goes is bringing people together as an organizer, as a friendly face, as a beacon of energy and hope and positivity.
Yeah.
Friends and family hoping for a miracle after Jen Angel was reportedly dragged while trying to stop robbers from getting away with her things. Good evening. I'm Julie Hayner.
She went to Wells Fargo Bank, and while she was in the parking lot, somebody broke into her car that she was in, started trying to take her stuff. When she tried to stop them, they dragged her behind the car until she ended up in the hospital on life support, and she actually died yesterday. Now, this in itself is a terrible enough thing and an indictment of why Oakland is a terrible place, because, of course, they haven't found these people or done anything about it. And she was an activist, so she was often on the all police are bad side of things.
Yeah. But Harry.
Yeah.
This guy probably didn't really want to commit that crime. He needed money. He needed her money. He needed her money probably more than she did.
Probably. She should have just given it to him if that's what she really believed in.
That's my point. Isn't he the real victim here?
He is. You were going to say something functional?
Huh? No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So she passed away, and then this happened. Family of Oakland Baker seeks restorative justice for her death following the robbery. I'm sitting here thinking this guy needs to be, say, here, hold this bowl of popcorn while we pull this switch.
Yeah, no.
And the family and friends of this woman are actually saying that if they find this person, they don't want them to go to jail.
Stop.
I just
en masse.
Just fuck Oakland. Seriously, I mean, just Oakland is done.
They've taken themselves hostage. Let them stew in their own juice.
This is like fuck some them. Of that, like those Swedish politician, the guy who got raped by some migrant who had a sexual emergency and then didn't want the migrant to be deported because that would be bad.
Right. Exactly. How be so devastating for this poor guy. He just raped me.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised. I knew Oakland was bad and I knew California sucked, but I legitimately didn't think it was this bad here.
Yeah.
I did not think it was going to be this bad, this close to me.
You've got to get out of there, Harry.
I don't live in Oakland, nor do I go to Oakland, because the last time I went to Oakland, somebody tried to do the fake car accident thing with me. So I don't go to Oakland.
Harry, winter is coming.
Yeah. So that's a thing that happened. And then another reason why I hate my state.
Like Elsinore.
Announcing the strict measures today, saying that public safety is the #1 priority.
This after the 2019 super bloom drew an overwhelming surge
of
traffic and crowds.
So now flowers are growing in places where they normally don't.
Here with more on what's being done to protect neighborhoods and the poppies. Alex?
That's right, David. The beautiful wild poppies are growing again in Lake Elsinore, but city officials are concerned about the massive crowds and ensuing traffic issues like the super bloom in 2019. So this year, the mayor of Lake Elsinore is telling the public, don't show up.
They have closed. And okay, California has almost nothing going for it at this point, but one of the few things we have is natural beauty. One of these, only a few times in a lifetime things is going to happen, where just the hills are going to be covered with wildflowers as far as the eye can see. Absolutely gorgeous. So they've taken Walker Canyon, and I have friends who went there, and I've seen, pictures they took. It is astonishing. So rather than do something sensible, like have people park outside of town and get on buses and go in and use this as a money-making opportunity and everybody gets to enjoy nature, they've just decided that they're going to team up with the highway patrol and the sheriff to cite anybody who parks by the side of the road, to close all the parking lots and close the parks. Because that's what you do in California. Right. Something amazing happens, so we just close the park and now nobody can see it.
This is the eco-snobbery that you're seeing, that the upper class, the controllers of access to these places want this to only be available to the few, to the true believers. The hoi polloi, the regular proles don't get access to these beautiful places. that's been heading that way for a long time now, Harry.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously nobody got killed in this thing, but it's just like, this is so trivial and so stupid. What kind of mayor actually turns down tourists? She was saying that she didn't want... Okay, here's actual video of this woman, so you can size her up. This is her from, I think, 2013. Hold on. Every time I open a window, it mutes it. I don't know why.
I want people to start to notice us. You know, Lake Elsinore is not
I'm
known
noticing
for
you.
what we want it to be known for. And it's an secret community that we have this beautiful jewel of a lake.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Freshwater lake in all of Southern California, sitting in the middle of our city.
Shut up. Anyway, she's terrible, and the town of Lake Elsinore is dead to me, as is the town of Oakland. Seriously, just a pox on both your houses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so freaking tired of this crap.
And I just came back to the town of Lake Eisenhower is dead to me, along with Oakland.
Okay.
That's all I came back to.
So that basically it rained a lot. And so what you get is what's called a super bloom, where just suddenly all the wildflowers just sort of spring up. And it's just absolutely amazing. And so what they decided to do is, since too many people showed up a few years ago and it was inconvenient for them, they just closed all the parking and the roads and the park to keep everybody away. Because that's what you do.
But wouldn't that bring extra money to the town?
Yeah, you would think.
Okay.
So the mayor of this
Alright.
town is really pleased with herself because she's making sure that life stays convenient for the people who live there.
Is this like an upper tier like community?
Not really.
No.
It's a town in California around a lake. It's not going to be that, Tony.
Well, it's just, I was like, I don't, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Lake Elsinore always was middle class to lower middle class. That's the way I thought of it.
Wow.
Yeah, so they've decided, and they're trying to claim that it's for safety, because whenever the government wants to do something they shouldn't do, it's safety. You know, people would actually went to the park and walked around on the trails, and it's really just not good for the park if people go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if people go out and enjoy nature, then nature might have to be inconvenienced slightly.
Yeah. Pretty soon, nature is reacting to people. Can't have that.
Man, can you think of how many bottles of bottled water, how many calzones, how many, just all the things you could do? What an amazing possibility most mayors in small towns would be tripping over themselves trying to have something like this. And this amazing thing happens. And instead of turning it into something fantastic that everybody wins from, they just close it all down.
And the town
for
lights
safety.
up when the town lights up when something like that happens. You know, all the places are open. There's a lot of activity. You can feel the wealth being generated. At least I can. Yeah,
she should be metaphorically, not literally, because that would be calling for violence, metaphorically tarred and feathered and run out of town.
You should do it. It's just a joke.
She also needs to be not metaphorically voted out of office.
Oh yeah, she needs to really be voted out of office. Yeah, she's just terrible, and I hate my state right now.
There's a lot of stuff like online where people will get mad at like influencers because some people will go into the flowers and kind of sort of trample them. This is the people who are pissed off about it, stating it, and I'm sitting there going, okay, one is someone who grows up in a state that's almost nothing but wildflowers. Wildflowers are not that easy to kill. First off, secondly, it would be trampled by nature anyway. Deer lay down in them, all that kind of stuff. It's not causing the harm you think it's causing.
And they will just dry up and die in a few weeks.
Yeah.
They literally are ephemeral.
Yeah, and that's my issue, is that you can always tell the city-born environmentalists because they have no fucking clue how this shit works. Like, them actually getting crushed is actually a good thing. It helps with the biodiversity of the insects that live beneath. It can help spread other things. It helps with other stuff. It makes patches, which makes it easier for animals to lay down and sleep, because then they're not having to disturb the flowers. So they're more likely to go there because it also smells like humans. It might protect them. There's a whole bunch of things that this actually does.
Yeah. Fire poppies are really, really pretty.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. And it's just like, it's like you all have no idea what you're talking about. Shut up.
No, this is just crazy.
And right before they bloom, if you go up with a razor blade, never mind.
Different poppies, but yes, but California poppies, it's the state flower, and people should be out enjoying them.
Gorgeous.
But one community has just decided that nah. So what is the intrinsic value of all these wildflowers and all this natural beauty if nobody is there to see it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only half joking about this question. Is nature being beautiful but being protected and isolated from people so we can't see it? Is that of value, or is the value of it in, our human eyes actually looking at it and taking in the majesty of it? Because I think it's the latter, because I think honestly without an observer it almost doesn't freaking matter.
You have to have an observer, but you also have to have some control over the effect that the people who are doing the observing have on the thing being observed. And that's appropriate to want that.
Well, there are trails.
Right. Exactly. And
stay on the trails.
Stay on the trail. Exactly. Leave nothing but footprints, take nothing but memories, that stuff.
Well, it's also the fact that this is how environmentalism becomes an other, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because when people don't get the chance to enjoy it, don't get the chance to see the beauty, don't get the chance to see animals, it turns into a nothing to them. It turns into an other, something that is just kind of on the periphery, but not something you're actually supposed to care about because you're too busy trying to survive. Like, how many kids wanted to become rocket scientists or astronauts by watching the freaking spaceships go up into the sky? How many people became environmentalists because they saw people do bad stuff in nature preserves and stuff like that and wanted to become something? Like, when you make this and other it, you stop people from caring, because then it's just a fake thing on the internet. Like, well, I can't see it anyway, so what does it matter?
Yeah, these pictures, by the way, don't even do it justice. I didn't have time to call up my friends and get copies of their pictures. You go over that hill, and what you see is a sea of not just orange, but of yellow and purple and everything. It's like something that you would think was generated by AI.
Yeah.
It's this astonishing thing.
I got the same feeling when I saw that I felt the first time I saw the tulip fields in Holland, where you see a field of brilliant yellow stretch out into infinity. You see a field of brilliant purple and red and blue, different colors, just going all over the place. I mean, the vividness of the colors is otherworldly. It is, and the setting of those hills is just magical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to belabor this anymore, but Functional used to with us. So what do you think? What do you think of this? Chick-fil-A has a new sandwich. It's made from cauliflower. So it's, instead of chicken, it's made from cauliflower. As somebody who knows something about the restaurant business, does this, well, first of all, do you think this is a good idea? And second of all, is it a good business idea?
Yeah.
No, and no, because it doesn't. Cauliflower is delicious when it's battered and fried. It is fantastic. I love it. I wouldn't want to put it on a sandwich like that. I would want to eat it either solo, maybe with a little bit of sauce, but just as is, because it's just that good by itself. The proper breading, just it does not need a bun. That's just going to be a carb overload with some greasy butter or something sauce on it.
Yeah, they put butter on
it.
They put butter.
And then they're chalked up with more carbs and sugar in the sauce that they probably put on the bun as well. I don't think I've ever.
They only put.
I don't know what they're. I know they have like a. Yeah, I know they have like the bun, the pickle, the chicken, and whatever else goes. Like, I know their sort of formula, but no, and I don't think it's good business sense, because like maybe you'll get some vegetarians that'll eat it, but like.
You're not going to Chick-fil-A.
Real vegetarian won't, because it'll probably have been fried in the same oil.
I'll bet they won't even be able to tell the difference from a regular chicken sandwich.
Yeah, just as good. Cricket flour is the same. But if you so Functional, I mean, you're a smart guy, and I know you know what I'm talking about here. But you've got a restaurant, and you've got an identity for it. You've got a certain kind of DNA. people know what to expect from a brand like this. It's a franchise, right? And then you go and you decide to sort of change it up. What's the thought process here? Are they thinking, well, if there's an office and they're getting lunch for everybody, there's always that one annoying vegetarian who's there, and maybe the office will order from Chick-fil-A if we just have something for Fred, who won't shut up about cauliflower.
Yes, because it is a sad reality that like every sort of outlet needs to have at this point a sort of at least vegetarian and sometimes vegan option. In my experience, it very rarely ever sold, but it was kind of, I guess, catering to the example you gave of just like give that group of people that option.
Yeah, I guess. I don't like it. I don't like it from a business sense. I feel like
it's horrible.
The worst thing you can do as a restaurant is not honor your DNA.
It's horrible, but like one of the last, I think 3 out of the last 4 restaurants I worked in had cauliflower bites.
I guarantee you, for this to have reached this level, there is a business plan with focus group information behind it, and this is something that somebody believes in.
Yeah, there's a spreadsheet
that's the only way
somewhere.
that happens. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
there's a
there's a tax write-off.
Yeah, it was on a PowerPoint.
Yeah, if we sell 100,000 of these, we'll have real money. It's
right. Yeah.
Look at the line; it's on the graph.
It has to be too, Skep, because the way that these types of fast food chains operate is they product test a hell of a lot before they even advertise something. Every little detail is painstakingly, air quotes, perfected to their ideals before they even have a rollout and a working product that they can mass produce.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like there's with any sort of market share testing, you would look at the numbers and go, it's not even worth it to develop this thing. Never mind release it and then force all of our chains to have it.
Yeah.
As long as we keep it frozen, we have that box of these in the back, in the back cooler, and then every now and then some random vegan walks in. And it's like, oh God, go get one of the frozen Pocks, and then they drop it in the oil.
The thing is, like every restaurant I've ever worked in, we've always had. It wasn't like advertised as like vegetarian food, but there were vegetarian things that you could eat on the menu that were great. Like some of our one avocado toast. I'm not a big fan of avocado, but it was great. Like cauliflower bites, French fries, mushroom-based gravy poutine. Like there were things not catering to an ideal, but rather they were just good recipes that we put out. And I think that's the secret to modern day restaurateurism.
Yeah, I just really still, like I said, I believe that restaurants have to stick with their DNA. If you want a different kind of restaurant, open another thing and call it, Mick, what is this place called? Mick Fillets or something.
Green fillet or veg fillet.
Or
like
some other damn
Chick-fil-A,
thing.
Come on, man. You do
cauliflower
chicken,
fillet.
Stick to chicken. Do chicken better. Don't settle on what you already have. Strive to do a little bit better.
They should have spent this money on.
I know people like rant and rave about Chick-fil-A. So.
They should have spent this money developing something like a chicken jerk sandwich or maybe a barbecue sandwich. That might have worked.
Yeah.
I stand by the statement. I think it's a tax write-off. I think they know some tax things coming down the line that every place has to have a vegan option, or they get
meatless options. Yeah.
I think somebody just got the ear of somebody highly placed in the organization and just nagged them. I think this is just like, okay, if I sell you a fried cauliflower sandwich, will you just get off my dick? That's all.
Exactly. He's my son-in-law. Jesus Christ. Get out of my office. Fine.
And then when it fails, it'll go away.
Well, while we're talking about business and marketing, imagine, if you will, that you're Adidas or Adidas or whatever the hell they are, and you've got a ton of Yeezy clothes to get rid of. I love the beginning of this. It's a quote from him saying, "You got a sister-in-law you would smash? I got 4 of them." This romantic lyric from Kanye West, aka Ye, in honor of his former Kardashian in-laws, should be sufficient to inform any corporate sponsor about the hazards of being in bed with one of rap's more controversial figures. So he's got, they've got like a ton of merchandise that they need to get rid of, and it's not moving. And yeah, this is like a financial nightmare. This is the thing. You get in bed business-wise with a guy like Kanye, and then he has one of his little brain farts and turns into a whole new personality. And then you're just stuck with a whole bunch of stuff that you can't move. Mm-hmm. And that sucks.
Well, it's like he did a thing with the Gap too, and the Gap was literally just throwing it in garbage bags and throwing it on the floor, and if people wanted it, they could take it. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, say what you will about Kanye, whether he was doing this to get out of contracts he didn't want to be in, whatever. Mm-hmm. This still doesn't look good. Like, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, okay, so he did it to get out of contracts. This is a bigger screwing himself than anything, because it's kind of like no one wants to buy your stuff. So it doesn't matter if you do your own thing or whatever without the aid of a company and that you broke the contracts. It doesn't matter because no one's buying your stuff, period.
Well, okay, so they have these shoes, right, that cost like $1,000. I mean, there's some crazy amount of money, yes. Right? They're just stupid expensive for no reason. Now, apparently, if somebody's willing to pay that much money for the thing, it would supposedly have some intrinsic worth, but it's associated with a person's name. And then as soon as that person's name and reputation get tarnished, we find out that its intrinsic worth is basically zero.
Until about 30 or 40 years down the road, and then it'll be worth something because this was done by a controversial figure in the 20s.
Yeah, collectors.
Yeah.
But I mean, the people who would buy this schlock are the people too stupid and have too much money anyway.
Yeah.
Like, and so they follow trends. They follow they're social media addicts, so they're in the know. And if they were to be caught wearing something like this, they'd be on the outs of their social networks or whatever. So, I mean, to them, yeah. But I mean, if Joe Schmo shoe collector or hip hop memorabilia collector, to them, they'd be like, for $100, yeah, sure, I'll take them.
Yeah,
which is still a whole hell of a lot more than the shoe. The overhead that it took to create that pair of shoes or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, since they have Chinese slave children making them.
Yeah, they could easily. I don't believe them that they said it could be losing big bucks.
Allegedly,
I don't think they need to repurpose it. They just need to sell it at a massive discount that's still well above your overhead for the production of these materials, the clothes and shoes. They'll still make money off of it. They won't obviously meet their projections of what it was before this whole thing happened.
Oh, I know.
Like, hell, I take a pair of Yeezys for $100.
Well, if it says yay, does it say yay on it? Is that what they write on it?
I believe it does.
Well, if it says yay, just add an N, and then maybe people will actually want it.
There you go.
Some do.
That is a terrible pun, by the way.
Yes, it is.
I don't know why you didn't call me on that.
Nope. Nope. We're going to let you just go in that pun.
But I'm just trying to think, how could we rebrand these with the minimum amount of effort?
Yes, I'm saying send them to frickin' Israel for the downtrodden Jews and let them wear it.
Send them to the Gaza Strip.
You could do Yeshua. You could do Yeshua.
Yeah.
They could be Jewish shoes.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, is there something
right now?
Is there some way we can salvage this?
They're averaging about $200-300.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because Adidas or Adidas is claiming $1.3 billion in unsold shoes. That's how much merchandise they've got, which is actually kind of surprising considering how modern manufacturing works, that they would have that much of it in the inventory chain.
1.3. That's $1.3 billion at retail. I promise you that's
Big
retail
name.
valuation.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's not their cost.
No, it's not their cost at all.
There's a lot of ridiculousness. Sorry. There's a lot of ridiculousn's here just in some of these shoe styles. But there's just as many that are like, yeah, I could rock those. Those look like comfy, just everyday, running shoes or what have you. Or like, he makes these weird ass Croc things too.
Yeah, those are a little.
I mean, I wear Crocs around the house because, like,
Well, if I'm going to wear Crocs, I'm going to wear Crocs. I'm not going to wear Yeezys overpriced pieces of.
Well, speaking of Crocs, did you hear about the story from the Chicago Sun-Times that the CDC was kind of exaggerating the data on their studies on mask effectiveness?
What?
I know. I was shocked too.
Oh no!
I
was allegedly surprised.
Yeah, like they're allegedly up there. Here, just cover our asses.
It seems that they studied both paper masks and actual, regular people using N95 masks and found little to no effectiveness in a meta-analysis. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't follow the CDC guidance, Susan, and that you shouldn't do what your county health department says to do, Susan. But the Chicago Sun-Times is irresponsibly reporting the data from this meta-analysis that was done, where they looked at all the studies of high quality they could get their hands on and found that they couldn't really show any real improvement in protection for people, lay people, wearing these masks, even the N95 ones.
Oh yeah,
And
it's funny.
Follows the orders of your Obergruppenführer.
Yeah.
It's what makes it funny is like you have all these people going, well, it does this, this, and this. It's like, yeah, it helps with allergies. I'm not going to deny you it helps with allergies because that's a different particle size. But it doesn't work with COVID.
Well, do you remember at the very beginning of all this, Fauci and company came out and said that lay people did not need to wear masks because unless they were worn appropriately and yada, 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 they weren't actually all that effective for lay people.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the first thing he said was actually right. Allegedly.
Well, he was right. So how could he be
rare how that however works for him.
But there are people still who are very, very... there are a lot of factors that you have to look at, because one of the things could be that maybe they do actually work, but that people engage in riskier behaviors in terms of transmission because they think it protects them, and that undoes any benefit that's there.
False sense of security.
Sorry?
False sense of security.
Yeah, it gives them a false sense of security, and so they do things that they wouldn't otherwise do, negating any benefit that the masks promote. But if you're trying to come up with a public policy, I don't know, follow the science. That seems reasonable.
Well, I mean, it's also the fact that, like, no one wears the mask properly. No one changes the masks the way they should. Or very few people I've ever seen. They touch the mask constantly, even when it's the KN or the N95s. They think a fabric mask will do anything when it doesn't. I think a lot of people, I think a lot more people, we're going to find out probably about 10 to 15 years down the road, if that, we're going to find out a lot of people actually had the much more allegedly minor version of COVID and just wrote it off as a cold, or didn't even acknowledge its existence because they were just dealing with other stressors. So they didn't even pay attention to it. And I think we're going to find out it was a lot more prevalent than what it was, because people were just like, I'm going to run around with a mask and think, and like Skep said, they just did stupid stuff. Like, and people that shouldn't have been running around, people who were sick continued to go out even though they shouldn't have. Yeah. That kind of stuff.
I think given one of the alleged theories of the origin, that it was probably designed to circumvent any and all sort of mass prevention strategies. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to get into any trouble.
Well, XBB 1.5 has an R naught value of, I don't know, like infinity or something. I mean, it's some ridiculous thing. We started out with something that was sort of like a really bad flu, and with each subsequent generation, it became more and more contagious to the point where if there's any gap in that mask, if you slip up even once...
Well, I mean, your eyeballs.
Like, yeah, if you slip up even once, it's not going to protect you.
Yeah,
so
it thankfully lost its potency as it became more and more contagious.
Well, there are people that would really love to have the mask mandates come back. The whole thing with the flowers, right? That's very pandemic type thinking to me. It's the whole, oh, well, it's for safety. It's for safety. Look at all these people parked by the side of the road. It's so unseemly. I didn't see the cars bursting into flames. I didn't see, I mean, it was untidy. It might have been inconvenient, but like 100,000 people got to, see something really beautiful. But no, it's just too messy. We don't want that. And the same thing with the mask stuff. Yeah, let's just make little kids wear the masks. I mean, you're not an expert on early childhood development. You don't know that covering up somebody's face is going to change the way that kids develop their social skills and interpret facial cues and stuff. You don't know that.
That social psychology was old hat in 1910.
No, you don't know that, Skep.
When Max Weber and those guys were, that absolutely is.
Yeah, I know it is.
You're throw that allegedly up, Harry.
But anyway, the point is, we don't need to talk about this. It's just that this is the way this works, that you can just say the same stupid shit for long enough that we all grow tired of talking about it. At this point, most people don't care about whether there was a lab leak. We don't care about whether they lied to us over the masks. I know that there's people here that do. But I think a lot of people are just so tired of this, they just want to get on with their lives and not think about it. But I just kind of want to hold these assholes responsible so that when they come back in a couple of years with whatever the new thing is, we can tell them to go pound sand.
Well, I think that's the one of the good things about the internet is that, yeah, people have become apathetic to it. I'm not going to deny that.
We're just worn out.
So much easier to go, look at the shit they did. And so it makes things easier because this is not the way and it's one of those, I think a lot of people are like, how are we holding their feet to the fire? If you will tell me how we're going to hold their feet to the fire, hell yeah, I'll be right there with you. But right now, I'm just going to wait and see what they do next, and then we'll go from there. Because because that's the only thing. Because it's like, let's just see what else you try. Let's see. Then we'll go from there. But for right now, it's like, masks. Oh, look how now that every single state's like, no, you don't need masks. It's like, oh, mysteriously, the studies say that masks were useless. Whoopsies.
Well, here's a stupid thing just to change things up a little bit. This is a sassy black woman who's working as a flight attendant, and I have to say I kind of like this woman. Delta flight attendant accused of telling a passenger they had a stupid face. So this woman decided that even though she wasn't in first class, she was just going to put some luggage in the overhead bins in first class. And I don't know this woman's name. She was going to have none of it.
So it's good because I will turn this thing back if I get you.
Yep.
Don't press my button. You got the wrong one today.
Well, I have you on video saying my wife has a stupid face. So
you're being rude.
I didn't hear her say it.
She just said that her wife has a stupid face. This guy's wife has a stupid face. She was like, she was going to have none of it. You know, there's the whole customer is always first thing. But no, I like this woman. I
like her more and more by the second.
I like her more and more. She is just like, no, child, you're just not going to do any of this.
Child.
I will turn this plane around.
Well, there's also the fact that she's protecting first class. The first class people are going to be like, don't you boycott this woman? Don't you go after this woman? You stop it.
Yeah. I like this woman. I feel like she has risen to the appropriate level for her level of sassiness. Because we do not need more people like this at the DMV telling you you're not going to get your tags. This is good. And I do think that the customer isn't always right. You know, like whoever asked for that cauliflower sandwich, tell them they're wrong.
Well, I think the full saying even says they're not right. It was something like there's a full saying that goes past the customer is always right.
The market will pass that along.
Yeah, exactly. So sassy black woman for the win.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. Give me some sassy black woman.
So so there's this. Shut up, PBC. So I find it interesting. They have this this article here, which won't let me get rid of that. Said, can Gen Z make friends in the pandemic era? So since Gen Zs don't like to actually go into offices or talk on the phone, they just want to be left alone and collect their check working remotely. You take that away and you take church and all the other social things. How are these people going to form any kind of personal relationships is the gist of this article. Now, let me just scroll through this really quickly and show you this here. You'll notice that here's a woman. She moved to Toronto and from Ireland, and she's having trouble making friends. And then here's some more women. And then here's some more women. And throughout this entire article, apparently men aren't having this problem. It's only women who are having trouble, who are from Gen Z.
I
or
think
men have just ceased to exist.
Vocal.
I'm not really sure.
I think it's the women are just more vocal about it. Because the guys will just go to the gym and then buddy up, and that's about or they'll go to a car.
Women are not settling for men. And here's what's happening. The 4s and 5s of women will get the 2s and 3s of guys, and they think that they actually rate that. And then when they get a little bit older, and those guys aren't even interested in them anymore, they can't figure out why they can't get a date. They're usually in their late 30s or mid 30s, I would say. And they suddenly have this realization that, holy shit, I'm not that attractive. You know, the magic isn't there. The thing that I've relied on all this time for my privilege is vanishing rapidly.
I mean, I think it was just talking about regular friend groups, not dating. But I get
it's just regular. Well, that's part of it. But regular friend groups and of course any kind of dating and thing that kicks in too. Otherwise, you're going into the Logan's Run sort of thing where you just bring people up on the internet and they magically get teleported to your room for a hookup.
Well, the thing is like I think a lot of it is also, and there's a lot of people who've made a lot of money off of it, is the problem of the parasocial relationships built through the internet with a lot of creators and influencers. Because, like, we'll take Critical Role for example. Critical Role is like a lot of things that started the way it did, where they basically fed into the parasocial relationship very early on because it got them attention, because they made people feel like they belong and all this kind of stuff. And then it got them money when they were raising money to do their animated show, which magically disappeared when they signed up with Amazon. But anyway, and that's the issue, is that you have so many of these people who are more willing to watch an influencer on TikTok or watch a YouTube video where the people are like, we're a community, we're a family, we're friends. And because they weren't raised in the generation like I was, which is, you can make friends on the internet, but that kind of interaction is not real. It's fake because there's a monetary compensativeness of it. And that's kind of where the problem's coming from, is that one, they expect people to believe exactly as they believe, because when they go looking for influencers on the internet, they can find people who, air quotes, believe as they do. Exactly. They're not finding that. There's a lot of people out there who are like, well, you're allowed to have your opinion, but that doesn't mean I have to share it. But there's also a lot of this, they don't want to talk because of the fact that, to be completely honest, so many of these kids are massively just afraid of their own shadow. I don't want to talk on the phone because it makes me nervous. You don't think that makes other people nervous? And we still do it because we have to do it. Like, get over it. Work on it. Do phone work for frickin' internet company, and you'll get over that phone issue.
I had to make phone calls when I was a kid to invite people to like birthday parties and things.
Yeah. And
I think I told you the story about I was talking to my friend Lisa, and I was just questioning the prefix on her phone number, and then we were going back and forth, and then I hear her dad was on the other phone, chimed in. I'm like a little second grade Harry trying to ask Lisa to go to a birthday party, and then we start talking about phone number prefixes, as one does. But no, to my mind, work is the last thing to disappear.
Yeah.
It used to be, you go back, communities were smaller, you didn't have the internet.
Yep.
You didn't have the parasocial relationships. You had whatever relationships you could form. So if you grew up in a town of 1,500 people, you would probably know some people from the schoolhouse. You'd know some people from the businesses that you would frequent. You would know people from your church, right? So the sermon goes, and then at the end, you get to have cookies and punch and whatever, and people hang out and they talk about stuff. There would be festivals and carnivals and things like that. And that's how you met people. Right. Yep. And so as stuff has disappeared.
Oh, we did it.
Yeah. You just peel stuff away. So you get rid of the church, you get rid of the festivals, you get these bigger towns where maybe there's a thing where people show up in groups, but you don't really know the people that are there at like the street fair. Right. There isn't really a sense that you're part of a group. It's just you're in a large group of people. And you peel this away and you get rid of work. Work was like the last place where a lot of these people would actually hang out. And then the pandemic comes along, and the Gen Zers just can't even. They can't go into the office. What connection are they actually going to have with anybody? I mean, sure, they can find something online and go, karaoke night or whatever with friends. I mean, it's not like there aren't things they can do, but it doesn't substitute for like the long-term relationships you have in a place like work. Those are just kind of gone.
Well, and there's also the fact that a lot of them, it's just, how do I say this? I'm trying to figure out how to say this.
Okay.
There's a lot of unwillingness to put yourself out there. Like, I'll use Minions for an example. Like, I used to watch another stream, haven't watched them in a long time, but I met people, and then like there was this thing of like, oh, you need to come to the Minions of the Zoo Discord, and they were just saying it to everyone, not just me. And I was like, I'll go there, and now I'm around you people for 3.5 fucking years.
Yeah, you people. I like it. Good one.
But that's the thing is like a lot of these Gen Z kids, they don't want to take lessons, they don't want to take classes, they don't want to go to the gym, they don't want to go to they don't want to join a book club. Yeah, the office has a lot to do with it, and I do agree with that, but there's other ways to meet, but they don't want to do it because they're afraid they'll feel awkward. They're afraid they won't be accepted. They're afraid you're not going to be accepted by everybody, and you need to get over it. But
and work socializing isn't really ideal to begin with.
Yeah, no, it's not. It never is and never will be. Anybody
because if things go badly, these are people you have to work with.
Yeah, those are people you have to see.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter whether you
them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't matter whether you're talking about dating them or just making an offhand comment about their cheese dip that didn't go over well. It doesn't matter what the slight is. You still have to work with that person.
Yeah, and the thing is, at the end of the day, men and women are social creatures in different ways. Women are a much more, there's a lot more verbal to it. Guys, like, I was raised around a lot of guys, so I can sit in a room with someone while they play a video game and consider that being social. Without having to talk to them. But there's a lot of women who weren't raised like that, and they have no concept of, well, we have to be doing something. We have to go out to eat. We have to go to a club. We have to talk all the time. We have to share everything. We have to be in each other's business. No, you don't. There's certain aspects of my physical, like, friends near where I live that I don't know certain things, because a lot of it I don't want to know. But
your meat space friends.
Yes. And that's kind of the thing of like, you don't have to, if you were surrounded by people who 100% agree with everything that you believe, someone is lying to you, someone's lying to you.
That would be novel.
Yeah. Because that doesn't happen. Human beings are not like that.
Sure as hell doesn't happen to me.
Yeah, same.
Well, I do have another story, because you mentioned parasocial relationships, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't get much more parasocial than our friend OnlyFans. So,
oh God, that was the beginning of the downfall of society.
So yeah, right, OnlyFans model says she's turned to reality shows to find love because men don't take her seriously and find her intimidating. Okay, she's 23. That is a hard lived 23.
That's a tough 23 right
That is a tough 23. Yeah, I don't know about 23.
That got rode hard, put away wet multiple times.
That's a 28.
Yeah. So
that's got cocaine miles on it.
I am not intimidated by this woman, and
no, I wouldn't be.
Well, the women who use the word intimidated always just mean that they're raging "see you next Tuesdays," and guys just don't want to put up with it, and neither do some women, so they just leave.
Yeah,
and she has the bee-kissed lips.
Oh, so much plastic surgery. Oh, Jesus, Mary, Mother, and Joseph. Oh, that's a lot. Oh, that's a lot.
It's a monument to the 23. Art, really.
Now, you may think to yourself, and rightly so, I wonder if this woman's kind of an attention whore. So I did a little bit of research, and here she is from August of 2022. Marilyn Monroe lookalike from Hastings receives death threats. It just seems like trouble just follows her, doesn't it, Skep?
Oh, just like Calamity Jane. Just, and you see people like this, they just wind up in the center of controversy and drama. And they're usually accomplished serial liars.
Oh, and again, just because we're on this topic, don't contact this woman and call her names and stuff. Just ignore her. That's the most effective thing you can do.
Pathetic thing that this is what she has to do for her attention. You know, this is people used to say, what do you have to do for your money? That was a big thing to ask. You know, what you got to do for your money back in the 1980s, the decade of greed. And look at what she has to do for attention.
About every 6 to 8 months, she needs to find some way to get some idiot to write a news article about her.
Exactly.
And because she has these pictures of her, it's like, well, here's 4 column inches right there that you don't have to write, because I'm going to give you pictures of me wearing my red dress.
Right.
Yeah. So she's probably, I mean, I didn't look that heavily into her. I wouldn't be surprised if she's just does this every 6 to 8 months. She finds some new way to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
What she's probably
doing.
Not
a virgin either.
I guarantee you she's not.
Yeah.
But she's like a lot of these girls that they get to go on these podcasts where you basically have a bunch of scantily clad women talking about they need to be respected and men are intimidated by them. They're doing it to get their name out there so this way they can get more OnlyFans people. That's all it's for. It's like it's because it's advertising. They don't really give a crap.
Do men not know that's on the internet for free?
They know. It's the creation of the parasocial relationship where they'll say your name.
Look at the picture, Serenity. Look at the body language of the men surrounding her. Do you think they're just respecting her space, or do you think they just don't give a shit?
Oh no, they clocked her the minute she walked into that bar and are like, nope, we're not paying a lick of attention to her.
I mean, it's not that they're not just giving her space, that they've almost all got their backs turned to her.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what are the odds? That guy is talking to that other person and he's being careful not to look at her. She's in a room dressed like that, surrounded by young men, and not only are they not looking at her, they're not even turning in a direction where they could look at her.
Yeah.
Well, she's very obviously like dressed up.
I take a chance
in a bar where no one else is dressed up. So it's one of those, any guy with any brain or has any sisters will go, attention whore, and just like the smart ones or even the moderately intelligent ones will just ignore her ass because that pisses them off and it's funny as fuck. But it's just that's all this is for her to get more OnlyFans, because like I don't even ever learn their names because I don't give a shit. But there's like one OnlyFans model that if you pay enough, I use the term model loosely, that if you pay enough during one of her videos, she will say your name when the end comes. Let's put it that way. So she's gotten guys to give her a lot of money because of that, and it's very sad. I don't think it's affecting as many men as people try to act like it does, but I do think it affects a large enough population that it is causing problems where you have these guys who, through mixture of things, not just social media, but everything else, who've been so browbeaten or who just are nervous, like who just have they have no confidence, just kind of think this is the easiest way to do it because this way they can get what they want out of it, but not actually have to talk to a woman, because God forbid. And that makes me sad because it's like, no, talk to you guys are good. It's okay. There's someone out there for you. I promise. Just like you gotta try. You gotta actually try.
Well, okay, but
even on a friend level, not even talking about girlfriend, like just friends.
Well, this was the
guys are very not friend. Have no.
This
friends.
is the other similar thing that came up today, talking about again the parasocial sort of stuff. So there's a new show on TLC called MILF Manor.
Oh God.
I think that stands for Mothers I'd Like to Friend.
Repeatedly.
That is what it is.
And so essentially they take these seasoned women and send them off to a manor in Mexico, and then the hilarious hijinks ensue. And this is sort of the
human beings degraded into animalhood again. Yeah, go.
MILF Manor is queasy reality TV, but that hasn't stopped people from talking about it. Yeah, so apparently people are talking about it, which is how I picked up on it, because I don't have cable, so I won't be watching MILF Manor. But Yeah, I do
Right.
feel like
Yep.
societal
Right.
rot is really approaching a critical level.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Now-
I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, one, a lot of these people are probably failed wannabe actors and models. They're just older now because that's what most goes on these reality TV shows, because they get cast like casting directors and stuff like that. But also, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, once the Kardashians got a reality show after Kim had her sex tape, it was over. I do like the fact that a lot of reality TV shows are failing now, so we'll see how long this lasts. Because I to be completely honest, the only people who are watching this are women in my age group, and they're not watching it because they want to see these women. They're watching it, one, to fulfill the idea that they're still sexy after they get a divorce, and two, to watch the drama, which the drama will be
Sorry,
between
go
the
ahead.
women. Well, the drama
I
will
was
be
gonna-
between the women, not the men. So
90% of the women watching this show alone are doing it with a glass of wine in their hand. And it's probably like filled much higher than it should be, because there's the amount of wine you put in a wine glass where you can swirl it and really kind of enjoy it. And then there's the amount that says, I don't feel like getting up off the sofa, so I'm just going to fill this wine glass way up to the top.
it's also
Just put the box next to the TV.
Right.
and it's that thing of like, I've never been into reality. I think I watched, none of you will know what I'm talking about. I don't even think chat will know what I'm talking about. But I used to watch stuff like The Hills, but I haven't watched reality TV in like 15 years because it's so scripted and fake at this point. But it's the whole fact of this shit sold the women. This isn't sold the men.
All the spontaneity's gone.
Yeah.
Out of these shows, like you say, even their reactions are scripted. You know.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like the women are watching this because they want to see the drama amongst the women, and they want to see because the guys will 100% be hot, and they want to see hot, naked, half naked men, but be able to say, well, it's not porn. That's what this is for. This is for the. I don't consider this for the Midwestern wife. I consider this for the big city women who who watch like The Bachelor and don't actually go out but try to put it on social media, like they go out to parties and all this kind of shit, and then they don't. Like, that's all this is for. Like, I want to know how many of these women are divorced. I want to know how many of them are getting alimony or child support, and how many of them have run out of alimony and child support. That's what I want to know, because there's a lot of plastic surgery going on these bitches.
Okay, so the twist here, the twist starts coming like an M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie. The crop of boy toys are actually the sons of the MILFs, meaning that both mother and son are forced to witness their respective budding May-December romances.
Good.
In one of the first episodes, the blindfolded women have to identify their own sons by fondling the men's abs.
Ew!
Oh, God! Oh, no! No! Oh!
It's really uncomfortable. That is really uncomfortable.
Oh!
Nuke it from orbit. Just end
Humanity
it.
was a
I want to
mistake.
go home.
Humanity was a
Always
mistake. Okay. I was thinking about making a new video intro for tonight's show because football tomorrow, but I'm going to just go ahead and
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm going to go ahead and play us out with
No, the quote. Oh God, the
with a
quote.
song.
It didn't bother you when you were baby sucking on them. Play it.
Fight fiercely, Harvard. Fight, fight, fight. Demonstrate to them our skill.
It's about football.
Albeit they possess the might, nonetheless we have the will. How we will celebrate our victory. We shall invite the whole team up for tea. How jolly. Hurl that spheroid down the field and fight, fight, fight. Fight fiercely, Harvard. Fight, fight, fight. Impress them with our prowess. Do. Oh, fellows, do not let the crimson down. Be of stout heart and true. Come on, chaps, fight for Harvard's glorious name. Won't it be peachy if we win the game? Oh, goody. Let's try not to injure them, but but fight, fight, fight. Let's not be rough though. Fight, 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 and do fight fiercely. Fight, fight, fight.
That
Well,
is genius. Sheer genius.
Oh, you better stop it, Harry. It's going to go on. You better stop it.
Back to the MILFs. Anyway, so I hope everybody enjoys their Super Bowl tomorrow. I mean, I like people having a good time. I don't mean to seem like a total killjoy about stuff like that. Yeah.
You're a killjoy. You should be ashamed.
I should be ashamed. Does anybody have any final words? My final words were fight fiercely, Harvard, and hurl that spheroid.
Yeah, I love
We good?
That. Hurl that spheroid down the field, everybody. Good night.
Yeah, this has been your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. The zoo is closed. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, wait, no.